Alright guys, welcome to the video. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be addressing a lot. We're going to be addressing mining, refining, assembling, building, maybe, we might touch on that, and the automated drilling platform, as well as inventory management. So I won't waste any more of your time, let's get started. On my server we use the TO's modified drilling platform as a source of passive income for factions. You can have one of these every 25 kilometers within radius. So if you try to put another one over here, for example, it's not going to work. Doesn't matter where you put it on an asteroid, but it does have to be on an asteroid. And for believability's sake, you have to build a mining station to go along with it. You can't just have a single platform out in the middle of nowhere. This forces people to go out, explore, take new asteroids, put platforms. Only 3 per grid at the moment. We might change that in the future, but for now, only 3. If we go over to this porthole and we either left click or press F, you can see it's bringing in a moderate amount of resources. Not a lot, but some, over time. Way more productive use of your time is actually active mining, which we're going to go over right now. I have a little mining vessel here. I'm going to hop inside. Now you can see my hydrogens at 100%. It's a good idea to keep your hydrogen thrusters off when you're not using your vessel, because otherwise you're going to be draining hydrogen for no reason. And in survival, resources aren't unlimited. So let's go ahead and let's pop on our thrusters. And let's turn on our hydrogen engines too. Now this ship is equipped with drills, mounted on its arms. We're going to go into our G menu. We're going to go to block tools. We're going to drag the drill to number 6. So if we press number 6 and we left click, we start drilling. Alright, let's go find some ore. Now normally I'd recommend having an ore detector. That way you can, oh, I did not turn my thrusters on. My hydrogen tanks are on stockpile. We'll go over that feature later. But let's turn that off, and now I have hydrogen to my engines. So normally you'd use an ore detector, and it'll actually show you on the map, hey, there's ore here, there's ore there, and what type. We don't have that on the ship right now, so we're just going to visually go find some ore. We can see ahead of us we have some, it looks like uranium perhaps, and some iron. For the sake of simplicity, we're just going to go after the iron for now. And try to be very careful when you're flying around in these ships, because you don't want to ram into the asteroid. That would, you'd have a very bad day doing that. Stretch out my arms here and start mining. Good idea to attach cameras to these drills so you have a little more depth perception there. But we are grabbing some more now. Again, that's left click, and be mindful in the G menu, it's under block tools, not weapons. You just drag it over to 6 or whatever number you want. Then you select the number, left click to drill. Being careful, these drills aren't invincible. It's very easy to actually break them. Now if we press I in our inventory, and I really hope this works because I really haven't tested this. Oh yeah, my cockpit is not connected to the rest of my inventory. So let's hop out of the ship for a second. Let's go to our dispenser here. Now if we left click it and go to inventory, we should be able to see, boom, I have 3.11 thousand iron ore. And if we click this grid, show connected inventories on ship, we can see in my storage I have another 9.12k. This isn't a whole lot of iron, but it's enough for demonstration purposes. So let's hop back in our ship. Let's retract our little arms here. Now we're going to fly back to our station. We're going to drop off our load. There's multiple ways you can do this. There's the fun way, and then there's the efficient way. The efficient way is you simply connect your connector to the station, and it'll automatically transfer the ore into refineries. Otherwise, if you just want to put it in cargo containers, you'd have to use a sorter, but I'll explain how that's done later on in the video here. But for now, let's drop off our ore. Again, be very careful because we don't want to crash into anything. Alright, now let's try to line up our dispenser with this ore collector here. Line that baby up. Okay. Now if we go to our connector in our K menu, select it, you see this option, throw out. This is the fun way to do it. We'll turn that on, and as you can see, it is throwing the ore into the collector. We go up a bit here, you can see, oh, push it down. It's a good idea to have gravity, actually, because then the gravity will suck the ore in. You can actually even design ships that will suck in ore that the miners may leave behind. So there's a lot of fun things you can do with it. Now let's power off this ship. Let's hop out. We'll go into our inventory here. We should see a little more iron than everything else. 17.5k iron. Alright, now let's do something here. We're going to hook up our refinery to our cargo container and start refining those ores. Now, for now, I'll just place the blocks in creative mode. So you can see this is how conveyors work. You connect the port on one grid to the port on the other block, not grid, I'm sorry. If you see green lights, that means, hey, we're connected, we're good to go. Now you should hear the refinery roaring to work. Let's go to the refineries. Forgot, it's a little tricky without gravity. Let's find a porthole on the refinery, actually. Here we go. And you can see now it's automatically refining the iron ore into iron ingots. This will be pretty useful. We can build steel plates, which is the bulk of all ships, steel plates mainly. So iron's a pretty, not rare, but it's extremely in-demand resource. So also we gotta keep in mind this uses up power. So if your refinery's not working, if you don't have green lights, it's probably you don't have enough power. Alright, now we can see our assembler should be having ignites pop up soon. It's funny as I'm trying to actually remember how to craft. I've not done this in a very long time. Ah, it's under the production tab. I'm an idiot. Alright, now see steel plate, we would need 7 iron ingots. Excuse me. Let's queue up a couple steel plates here. And as you can see, it's drawing resources from the refinery, and it's produced our steel plates. Now what we're going to do is we're going to connect to this assembler as well. For that, we're going to need conveyor tubes. Let's go into our admin menu, and let's disable creative tools. Now if we go into our G menu, it's less of a pick a block and place it and more of a what do you plan to build type situation. So let's go to conveyors. Let's go to conveyor pipes. Oh, I have progression enabled, don't I? Well, shit. I forgot to disable progression. Let's go back to creative mode tools. And let's get those pipes out. I'm going to place it, and then we're going to grind it down. Progression's a feature I'm really not that big of a fan of. We won't use it for our purposes, but know it exists. Alright, that's grinded down. Now in survival mode, when you place a block, it will be like this. It will be grinded down into nothing. So let's go ahead and dump out our inventory here. Alright, now, if we go to our character tools and pull out our welder, and we try to weld this. Oh my god, I hate my life right now. Okay. Progression mode's still being on. However, it would say that you don't have the proper materials. You can see on the right side you need interior plates, you need construction components, you need small steel tubes, motors, and interior plates. If we go back to our assembler here, let's start making those interior plates, which are... here we go. Let's make about 10 of those. There we go, already done. Now we can drag those over to our inventory. And bam, now we have the 10 interior plates we need. Now we need 20 construction components. There's actually an easier way to do this. If you go to G in your build menu, and you go to pipes, this is the one we need. So if we go to our build planner, let's add that pipe to our build planner. The way you do it is you click the pipe, you click the plus symbol. It's now added to your build planner. Now if we go back to our, our assembler here, then we go to production. There should be a way of importing our build planner. Here we go. Click this tab. And then if we click the conveyor pipe, it'll automatically build all the components you need for that particular pipe. So now it's making the construction components, then the steel tubes, then the motors. Now the motors, it doesn't have nickel, and it needs nickel. So it's not going to be able to build that. So, but let's get what it did build and drag it over just for demonstration purposes. Pull out our welder here, and as you can see, it now has most of the materials it needs. And as you weld, it'll build the block up to its full capacity. So that's the basics of mining, of production, and of building. Now you might ask yourself, well, darn, how am I going to build a ship? Because do I have to just copy it in survival mode, place all the blocks and weld them? Well, actually no, not exactly. There is a nifty little block here called the projector. Let's place it down. And this little plus symbol is where the projection will come out of. Now, let's go into... I don't see the control panel, so let's go into this one. Let's find our projector. You can see there's an option for blueprints. Click that. Now let's pick out that little mining frame that we have, which is this sucker right here. Double click. And now the projector has... oh. Ah, yes, I forgot. It can only project the same size grid. We are on a large ship grid. That is a small ship, so it can't actually project that. How do you work around this? Remember the rotor trick I taught you? Put down a rotor, put down a small rotor head, then a projector, then you can project small ships. But let's just pull up a big ship to show you an example. Double click. Now it says multiple grids are not supported, only the largest grid will be used. So if you have a custom turret, it will not bring the turret with it in the projection. You're going to have to build that separately and then slot it in and connect it. Little tricky, little tough, but it is doable. Also satellite dishes, anything connected by a rotor. This is why I highly discourage interior rotors, because it's a complete nightmare to get stuff in there. Alright, now, as you can see, the projection is way off. it's kind of melded into the grid here, so let's kind of fix that. Go into spectator mode. And let's actually pull out a cockpit so that we can do this easier. Hop in our cockpit, go into our spectator mode with F8. Now let's go into the projector. And here you can see the offsets, horizontal offset. Let's slide it back. Now we have our vertical offset. We have our forward offset, our pitch, which is our rotation, and our yaw. So let's actually roll this sucker. Let's bring him closer here. That's better. Now you can see some of those grids lit up. Do you see that? Let's bring it back here. There we go. Now, if we hop out of our cockpit, press F6 and F, hop out, you can see those grids are touching something. And I actually intended for it to touch the projector itself, but it's okay. It works for our purposes. In order to be able to build this grid, you need it to be touching something that already exists. The hell is that? I think my mining ship just flew off into nowhere. Interesting. So it's touching these solar panels, so we can actually start welding it. This would take resources, but, you know, just creative mode tools. We can weld it without it taking resources just for demonstration. As you can see, you can only weld projections that are touching an already existing grid. This is how you build large ships. I do not advise welding all of this by hand. That is miserable. I advise you build a ship, like that mining ship I built, but with a welder instead. Now, keep in mind you're going to have to dock your ship and draw the resources into your cargo bay that you need to weld the blocks on that ship. So, where in the heck is that thing? I was actually going to use it to demonstrate this, but I don't know where it went off to. Here he is. Ow. Alright, so I don't recommend just completely powering off a ship that has rotors and hinges on it, because that can actually happen. But let's take this sucker back. And let's replace our drills on the arms here with... we gotta pull out a block I can actually build with it. With welders. Now, you see it's a large kind of grid looking thing, and that's a small one. So the question is, how do you get around that? Converters. Here's a converter. Let's put it on this piston here. Same for this one. And now, we can put our welder on there, and it fits. Hey, what do you know? Excuse me. Arms are a little messed up. Let's fix that. Hurry up. Alright, now if we go to G, and we can replace it with the welder, and this one's being a pain. There we go. Okay. Let's head back to that little station. Where is it? Here it is. Let's start welding this bad boy up. If we left click, you hear a little clicking sound. That's the welder being like, hey, I'm trying, but there's nothing to weld, my man. And I just overshot the absolute hell out of that. Now if we go over to this projector, we start welding. And I don't believe it's working because I don't actually have any blocks in the inventory of this ship. If I did, it would start sparking and building up the ship. So let's put some blocks in there, see if we can get away with that. At least some steel plates, I'm sure we can be able to do. So let's build a bunch of steel plates. Let's drag them over to our inventory here. Now let's go to our ship. It's way easier to just do this with a connector. And then let's drop... Oh, I forgot to turn the connector off. Silly me. Turn throw off. Now, if we drag our plates in here, these as well. We go to our cockpit. Please work. So many things have not worked. Interesting. I may not actually have the cargo connector connected to these welders properly. Or it could also be that I have progression enabled and I don't have welders unlocked. However, I'm going to grind this block down just to show you. If you have connectors working properly, and you left click, it should weld it. Just like that. So... Oh! I know why. The connector, it needs a large conveyor, not a small one. It can't actually move the building blocks through this tiny little arm. You can move ores through, but you can't move steel plates and larger components such as that. So for this guy to actually be a building ship, I would need to make... it use the large conveyors for a small grid, like this, because small grids have these large conveyors, and then they have these small conveyors. So keep that in mind when you're designing building ships. They have to use large conveyors to be able to get materials to the ship. The good thing about having all these problems in a video is I can explain to you the solutions, because you might run into that issue. You might build a ship like this, and then be like, well, damn, why isn't it working? Why can't I weld anything? So now you know. But that is how you build a larger ship, and it's really cool because you can build shipyards with projectors. You can put welders on what are they called? What are you called? Pistons. You can put welders on pistons and have an automated ship factory. And the rule being for the server is that if you built it in survival, that's fair game. You have it. You got it. What the actual hell is this? That's really weird. Oh, the barrels are fucked up at the projection. So yeah, if you build it in survival, it's yours. You have it. Just keep in mind the limit for drilling platforms. And I hope you got a good overview of everything, such as inventory management. Now, there are a lot of advanced things you can actually do with conveyors, because see, you have the conveyor sorter, for example. The reason I didn't really go over these is because I actually haven't really used them. I really don't know how they work. I'm going to learn how they work, and when I do learn that, I'll share it with you. Perhaps I'll make a sequel to this video. But it appears as though you can add an item to the whitelist and only certain items will go through. Yeah, and a blacklist and other items won't go through. So yeah, pretty useful. Yeah, so that's the basics here. I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned a thing or two about a thing or two. Let me know the next thing you want to go over. And I'll see you guys next time. Oh, actually, real quick, there's something we didn't go over. That's how to make hydrogen and oxygen. You're going to want an H2O2 generator. You're going to want to connect it to something that's bringing ice in. For example, this drilling platform is bringing ice in. So let's connect it up here. And I don't know why it's not doing it automatically. If you put ice in here, it should start producing hydrogen. Oh, it's not because it doesn't have a tank to put the hydrogen in. So if we connect it with a conveyor, to a oxygen tank and a hydrogen tank. Perhaps it may not have enough power, so let's remedy that as well. Because the projectors and assemblers are all taking quite a bit of power. It should be working. Yep, now it's working. Now, these tanks should start getting filled. Yep, there we go. That's really all you need. So you need an H2O2 generator, and you need it connected to tanks, and the tanks will start filling themselves. I don't know why the lights are black on these tanks. That's very interesting. Perhaps they don't have enough fill for lights to go up. I know it seems like I'm learning this stuff as I teach it, and I kind of am, because it's been a very, very long time since I've done survival. So I'm going to be a little bit new jumping in this with you guys as well. But that'll be exciting. So yeah, now you should know the basics. As far as gases, they operate the same way as resources and plates do. You can't drag and move them manually though. So if you want to connect your ship to a connector, and then you turn your tanks onto stockpile mode, that'll suck in the gas into your ship. So, alright, well let me know if you have any questions. If there's something else you'd like me to go over, hopefully this was very helpful for you. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.